Jones. I'm the Chief Executive of the Scotland Malawi Partnership. Welcome to our Business, Trade, Investment and Tourism Roundtable meeting. We're co-hosting today's meeting with Power Global Media, and in a moment I'm going to pass over to Kenala to say a little bit about Power Global. I'm immensely grateful to them for their introductions earlier on this year to the brilliant new team at the Malawi High Commission. We had a fantastic meeting in the summer with the new attachés in the Malawi High Commission on trade, tourism and investment. There was a lot of exciting ideas as well as some brilliant new personnel. And we decided that it would be useful to host the digital roundtable meeting to give space for those new personnel to be able to set their plans and priorities out to key stakeholders, not least in the Scotland Malawi community. But also over the summer, we had a great meeting with the UK government's Scotland office. And one of the things that we were focusing on was business and trade links between Scotland and Malawi. And there was a strong commitment from the Scotland office representing the UK government to do more to support those links. Also, another key event upcoming is the Malawi UK Business Group that I know many of those involved in today's call will be a part of, is in the very final stages of becoming a Chamber of Commerce. So with all of these factors together, we thought that there was a center of gravity, a critical mass, and it was worth bringing everyone together to create a space to share a little bit about business, trade, investment and tourism links between Scotland and the UK and Malawi. We want to create a space to really listen to those new personnel at the Malawi High Commission about their priorities. We want to raise awareness about the forthcoming Malawi Chamber of Commerce and invite your input into that chamber. We want to share information about who's doing what in the Scotland Malawi business, trade, investment space. We want to listen to banks and other financial services to find out about opportunities that are there. And we want to explore some of the blockers that are there, and as well as ways of potentially alleviating those blockers. I'll put into the chat box here a link to the agenda. You can also find that on our website. What we're going to do first is listen to representatives from the Malawi High Commission, starting with the Deputy High Commissioner, and then the Tourism Attaché, the Trade Attaché, and the Investment Attaché. We're also delighted to have the High Commissioner, Malawi's High Commissioner to Zimbabwe with us, who we'll listen to at that point. And then we'll have a Q&A for all of those representatives of the government of Malawi. We'll then look at the Chamber of Commerce and particularly keen to invite your input to that. And then we're going to look at banking and money transfers. We've got a spokesperson from Standard Bank as well as from Moto Money joining, and you'll have time to ask them questions. But crucially, we're going to try and keep all of our speakers to very short time slots, and my thanks in anticipation to our speakers for keeping within that time to ensure that there is time for a really open discussion at the end of this afternoon's meeting for all of your input, ideas, questions and discussions around business, trade, investment and tourism. Please don't be shy about using the chat box to introduce yourself, perhaps with a sentence of what your link is or what you wanted to get from today's meeting. And also use the direct messaging feature to network. It's probably one of the best features of meetings like that you can be listening to the core content while at the same time building your own network and contacts. So don't be shy about using the chat box. But as I say, today is a coast-hosted event, so really thrilled to hand over to my friend Kenala, the CEO of Power Global Media. Graham, over to you.
Oh, hi. Thank you, David, and thank you everyone for attending this meeting. So excited about it. And well, 5 minutes again, I was thinking, am I going to make it to introduce Power Global? Because we have Power Global, which is the media, an entity of Power Global International, an NGO, which was formed basically to support and promote the less privileged. Our organization was formed on the basis of spreading the word of God, empowering the underprivileged communities around the world. Our media has worked with different ministries in Malawi and the diaspora, promoting spiritual growth and transformation. The organization has overwhelmingly assisted in the information dissemination and civic engagement during the recent historic Malawi campaigns and elections, and Power Global Media entertains, educates, empowers, and inspires the community. We serve through our media excellence in bringing our nations together. Our establishment has received several nominations and awards, respectively, in the United Kingdom as recognition for the best media organization. Yeah, so this meeting we orchestrated with Scotland Malawi Partnership from the 3rd of November 2022, and fostering from engagement with His Excellency Dr. Thomas Bisika, the Malawi UK High Commissioner, and the Embassy Attaché. Power Global Media introduced the panel to the CEO of Scotland Malawi Partnership, David Hope Jones. So that's hence we are here today. And likewise, I said I'm not going to take too much time because we want to crack on, and maybe later on we can have some questions and answer sessions later on. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Graham, and looking forward to your input. And I know your colleagues are here in the meeting as well. Let's move to our first section of speakers. We're going to be listening to the brilliant new personnel at the Malawi High Commission. And I'm really, really delighted to introduce the new Deputy High Commissioner to the UK from Malawi, Justice Agnes Patemba. Justice Patemba, can you hear me? Over to you.
Thank you, David. I'm speaking on behalf of the High Commissioner, Dr. Bisika, who is engaged this morning, so I'm representing him. Your Excellency, Dr. Maiwao Polipole, the Malawi High Commissioner to Zimbabwe, David Hope Jones, CEO Scotland Malawi Partnership, Mr. Graham Kenala, CEO of Power Global Media, all facilitators, distinguished guests. I'm delighted to be here this morning to attend this meeting where we want to explore the business, trade, investment, and tourism opportunities that are existing in Malawi, and how we can work together to utilize those opportunities for the betterment of Malawi and Scotland. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Scotland Malawi Partnership and the Power Global Media for organizing and hosting this event. You've done a commendable job, and we can see from this meeting that we're going to make some progress and make some strides. The sense of purpose that has been manifested in organizing this event shows the deep and continued commitment between Scotland and Malawian people in a quest to improve the cordial relationship that has been existing between us for so many decades. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Malawi appreciates and acknowledges the old and strong friendship that exists between Malawi and Scotland, which dates back as far as 1859 through Dr. David Livingstone. The Scotland has been a true friend to Malawi government during all these years, and Scotland has for so many years supported the development of Malawi through humanitarian assistance, grant aid, technical assistance, advocacy across a wide range of areas, including education, health, trade, governance, among other things. And as for the global trend is moving from aid to trade, it is the desire of the Malawi government to strengthen the existing ties, not only for international aid, but also for investment and trade. The Malawi 2063, which is a blueprint of our priorities as a country, it recognizes agricultural productivity and commercialization, industrialization and urbanization as a pillar for our economic growth. And the Malawi government is geared to increase agricultural productivity, and those are some of the priority areas that Malawi would want to engage in through increased access to farm technology and affordable agriculture finance, commercialized agriculture, and diversification in export base. The National Export Strategy 2 of 2021 to 2026, in line with the Malawi 2063, emphasizes on consolidating, expanding, and diversifying Malawi market share. The Malawi 2063 also recognizes the importance of clean energy, as well as increased investment in transport and storage infrastructure in facilitating industrialization. the Malawi government would like to urbanize all tourist attraction sites and make our beautiful country a regional and international tourist destination. This will be essential in containing rural-urban migration, creating jobs and markets. The government has developed a tourism investment compendium with various projects that it plans to undertake under public or public-private sector partnership, and the tourism attaché, Mr. Banda, will go into details on this. And the Malawi 2063 also identifies private sector dynamism and human capital development as a key enablers of the economic growth that we aspire. Malawi government is committed to education and developing skill sets of the youth to actively participate in the economic activities. The government is also committed to continually reform the business processes by creating a business enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. Apart from the 2063 document, Malawi has also formulated a 10-year plan, 10-year implementation plan, which operationalizes the Malawi 2063 from 2021 to 2030. This is the first of the full 10-year plan that has been developed to drive the implementation and the realization of the Malawi 2063 vision. The government has essentially put in place the necessary framework conducive to the profitable operation of business in terms of the legal and the framework policies. And I will assure you that Malawi is a country on the move, and we require partnerships like the Malawi-Scotland Partnership to harness the opportunities. There will be a presentation from the tourism attaché, from the trade attaché and investment attaché from the Malawi High Commission on this platform, who provide you with all the technical information that you might need regarding the trade, investment opportunities and tourism sectors that are available in Malawi. And I would urge all of us to utilize such opportunities. Once again, I believe this will be a fruitful meeting for the mutual benefit of Malawi and Scotland. I thank you all for your kind attention. God bless you. Thank you.
Deputy High Commissioner, thank you very much for your warm and welcoming words. Thank you for all of your messages of support for the continuing friendship between Scotland and Malawi. And please be in no doubt that there is great affection in Scotland for Malawi and great pride in that bilateral relationship. And a key aspect of that bilateral relationship is ensuring that it is a dignified partnership and not one-way charity. As you said, that it transitions from aid and to trade. And for me, the key element of what makes a dignified partnership is creating that space to really listen to our partners. And that's what today is all about. Thank you for your opening words, Deputy High Commissioner, and delighted to now hear from three excellent attachés in the Malawi High Commission. We're going to start with tourism, and really thrilled to have Dyson Banda, the tourism attaché, who is putting us all to shame with his excellent virtual background. Dyson, if you're there, over to you.
Thank you, David. Let me start by saying all protocols observed, because I only have 5 minutes. I'm glad to be part of this important meeting, and like what has already been highlighted by my Deputy High Commissioner, we are all excited within the mission. And from a tourism perspective, Malawi and Scotland, the link is very close and strong. And I'm glad to say that as of now, we receive a lot of tourists from Scotland that come in different forms, including exchange programs for schools. And would like to make sure that this bond of friendship can go from strength to strength, and also to make sure that it translates to improvements in terms of livelihoods for the common Malawians. And the areas that we are looking at in terms of prioritization moving forward, as you are aware that the link between Malawi and Scotland dates back to the entry of Dr. David Livingstone in 1859, and the philanthropic work of the Scots through missionary work is it's everywhere in Malawi to see through the Free Church of Scotland as well as the Established Church of Scotland. And in terms of how Malawi can harness and maybe also take advantage of this relationship, I think we are looking at the sharing of expertise in terms of how Scottish architecture can best be preserved. In Malawi, we have a number of key resources in terms of key attractions, which are national monuments, which were designed and built with the expertise from Scotland. And therefore, through the Department of Museums and National Monuments, we are looking at strengthening the relationship so that maybe we can also tap into the expertise that Scotland has to make sure that whatever national monuments we have, we can utilize them to make sure that they can be an attraction that can translate into bringing in forex into Malawi, as well as making sure that the people around these areas can also earn a living out of it. And the other thing that we are looking at is broadening the exchange programs that currently exist between Malawi and Scotland. And there is a lot of travel from Scotland to Malawi where experts come and perform a number of supporting roles in different sectors, for instance, health, education. Would want to make sure that when they come to Malawi, while performing their roles, this can also be translated in terms of tangible benefits in terms of tourism. And one area that we are also looking at is to identify the family members of maybe Scots that are buried in Malawi. We hope that this can also help to deepen the link that Malawi and Scotland has. And we are also exploring the possibility of maybe initiating the adoption of sites and monuments for preservation purposes. Like I have already said, I think we need the Scottish expertise to help us in terms of preservation of these historical monuments. So in terms of tourism, I think we can see that with the support that we are getting from the Scotland Malawi Partnership, and we have also engaged the Scottish government. I think it is an opportunity for Malawi to explore all the areas that we feel there's potential for Malawi to generate a lot of traffic from Scotland, which can also translate into foreign exchange for the country, as well as increase the length of stay for these experts that are coming to Malawi, so that at the end of the day, people that surround these national monuments can also realize the economic benefits of these opportunities that exist. And in terms of the Malawi Tourism Master Plan, which is the 20-year investment master plan, which was launched earlier this year by His Excellency the President. It is an opportunity that most of these projects are located in areas where even the Malawi 2063 is looking at creating tourism cities. So some of the attractions that are in these areas also have links to Scotland, and it is our hope that we can attract investment as well as maybe experts that can support the development and as well as the promotion of these projects. So I think because I was given 5 minutes, I think I'll be able to offer more information in the Q&A session. But otherwise, I would like to thank the team that has organized this meeting for inviting us to be part of this meeting. I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Dyson Banda, Tourism Attaché, thank you very much. It's extremely useful to have this moment to be able to listen to your priorities and to the policies of the government of Malawi. While we were listening to the Deputy High Commissioner earlier on, I put in the chat box links to Vision 2063 and the 10-year implementation plan. Dyson, if you're happy to put a link to the Malawi Tourism Master Plan, the 20-year master plan, that would be wonderful. And we'll email that out to everyone and have it on our website afterwards. A key priority for us is using these opportunities to really encourage everyone working in this space to be working within and towards those policies of the government of Malawi. So once again, Dyson Banda, Tourism Attaché, thank you very much for your time. We're going to turn to trade now, and delighted to invite Shakira Piri to say a few words about her priorities on trade and what are the key policies that we should be ensuring that we're working within. Shakira, if you can hear me, over to you.
Thank you so much, David. All protocols observed. I saw Dyson's background and I thought I should also improve my background as well by adding some products from Malawi. As you're aware, Malawi has a number of products and a lot of export potential. We have rice, and if Just Trade Scotland is here, I would just want to give them a shout out to all the things that the wonderful things that they're doing here in the UK. And apart from rice, we have legumes, soybean, beans, and we also have paprika, chilies, kidney beans, and more others, including the dried fruits. I think on the background, I even have banana flour that some of the Malawian producers are making, which is a kind of product that has also potential to go far. And what we would want to partner with you is to look for markets for these products. We all know the potential that Malawi has, from the horticultural products to the processed products to the raw materials that we have. But we are looking for off-takers. We are looking for distributors. So if you have links on who can off-take these products here in the Scotland, that would be very much appreciated. And just to give you a heads up, next year in March is Buy Malawi Strategy Month, and we would want to have an initiative of just creating an awareness of the products here in the UK from Malawi and the benefits that these products have. And we want partners, we want the distributors, we want even companies that can advertise, and we just want collaboration with various sectors just to create visibility of these wonderful products that are here. And for those that have direct links with Malawian producers, you can appreciate that one of the challenges that most of their producers face is access to finance. Just not finance, but affordable finance. So if you have stakeholders that can provide affordable finance to producers, to these producers, that would be wonderful. So we are looking not for charity per se, but we are looking for companies that provide soft loans to to agricultural company or to producers of these wonderful products that are here. And Dyson had mentioned a number of issues in terms of the exchange programs. And in trade, we are also looking for those exchange programs and training opportunities if available. Exchange programs, we know in Scotland, there are various, you have MSMEs which have different skill sets which our MSMEs in Malawi can take advantage of. And we want to create those linkages and to create a learning platform where SME in Malawi can learn from an SME in Scotland. So if there is an opportunity for those exchange programs, or if there is an opportunity for companies that are here to establish those links with SMEs in Malawi, that would be wonderful. Or just guide us in how best we can create these links with the Scotland businesses. And also, standards is one of the issues. I've realized that most SMEs have issues with maintaining or adhering to the standards. It's not that they don't want to adhere to the standards, but sometimes the procedures or the capacity or the finance. But here in Scotland, we have people that have these skills, that have the capacity, that have worked in major businesses or major government agencies in terms of the standards. We would also want to partner with those to capacitate our SMEs, to capacitate our producers back home. And let me appreciate you, David, and the whole of Scottish Government for the advocacy that you're providing towards the double taxation avoidance agreement, which we would want to renegotiate for the betterment of Malawi. And we rely on you to give us the continued support to ensure that this agreement is renegotiated, and that some of the provisions are amended, and that Malawi benefit from this agreement. You already know this agreement does not necessarily give us the full benefits that Malawi was supposed to have in this kind of an agreement. So we'll still rely on you, David, and the whole of Scottish Government for your support for finalization of renegotiation of the agreement. We have kickstarted the process with back in the capital. And my friend, my colleague Violet will also probably stress more about this. We would want to create mega farms in Malawi, and we know that we have businesses in Scotland that would be interested to go to Malawi to establish mega farms in different areas. We have land, and we are ready to facilitate if there are businesses that would want to venture into mega farms. But this is something that my colleague Violet will be able to clarify. Thank you so much.
Shakira, thank you very much. I feel bad now for saying at the beginning of the meeting that Dyson had the best background. I didn't realize you had such a fantastic market stall behind you. I think probably everyone was looking at that and trying to imagine the brilliant meals that you could cook with those wonderful Malawian ingredients, no doubt enjoying a Mazuzu coffee and a Malawi gin while doing so. But thanks ever so much, Shakira. Those priorities were very clearly communicated and well understood, and we will come back to each of those. We have two more speakers from the government of Malawi, and then an open space for questions and answers and discussion with everything that's there. With the time that's available today, we're not going to be able to get into full detail with all of these issues, but what I really want to try and do is to listen to those priorities of the government of Malawi, to build connections between the key people that are here, and to start these important conversations. So Shakira, thank you very much indeed. I should say, please do, if you have a question for any of our speakers so far, in the chat box, just put question for whoever it is, and then put your question. And the quicker you do it, you'll be the first to be called on to ask your question. So really excited, as Shakira said, to turn to the investment side of things now, and really thrilled to welcome Violet Lini, the investment attaché. Violet, if you can hear me, over to you.
Thank you, David. All protocols observed. Thank you everyone that is attending this meeting, and we want also to thank Power Global for co-hosting this meeting. The opportunities in Malawi on investment are so much. There are a lot that I really can't dwell much on it in the 5 minutes, but I can briefly say our priorities are agriculture, energy, manufacturing, tourism, infrastructure, and transport. And when we talk about agriculture, you know, for our country, agriculture actually contributes 30% of the GDP of the Malawi's economy. So we dwelling a lot in the agriculture because the government at the meantime is ready to partner with the right investors, with the people that have the right technologies to transform the country's agriculture sector. There's plenty of opportunities from large-scale irrigation farming to agro-processing of these crops, and the ones that also have high value on the export market. And as my colleague Shakira talked about the mega farms, the government wants to partner with investors that can be able to do mega farms, so we're able to produce more value products, more value crops that will be able to increase even in the contribution of the GDP of Malawi through the agriculture. And there's plenty of opportunities in the agricultural sector, because even the investors that wants to come in the agriculture and agro-processing have to enjoy the priority industry status, which is that they will have the zero-rated corporate tax for a period of up to 10 years. So at least we also have an attraction in the tax incentive in the agro-processing. And the other priority sector that we have for investment is energy. As you know, at the meantime in Malawi, it's only 20% of Malawians that have access to electricity at the meantime. And the goodness of our country is we have the abundance of sunlight, we have the presence of strong winds across the country, which also present opportunities in the energy sector for wind farms, turbines, for solar energy. So the opportunity in the energy sector is also broad, and it's also one of the sector that we need a lot, because with the energy, then we'll be able to have a large manufacturing sector as well, because manufacturing is also one of our priorities. So the manufacturing sector will also be looking for plenty of energy. So they both are our priorities at the meantime, because that's what we need. We have lots of raw materials in Malawi that needs to be manufactured into goods. We import most of the things in Malawi, we import clothing, but we have raw materials that we can, if we are able to have factories in Malawi that can produce clothing, then we will even be at a better state. So we also have the manufacturing sector as one of our priorities, so we can have factories that can even produce fertilizer. At the meantime, we're struggling with fertilizer. We can get it because of the Ukraine war, you know how it has affected a lot of things. But if we're able to have factories in Malawi that can produce fertilizer, it will help us as a country, and even the countries within our region can benefit from that. So manufacturing is also one of our priorities. And of course, we also have mining. Like I said, at the meantime, we have small-scale miners that are working on the gemstones that we have. but we have an abundance of mineral deposits in Malawi that we haven't yet. Can you hear me now? Have you been hearing me?
Yes, Violet, we've got you loud, loud and clear. Back to you, Violet.
Now I don't know how long you've heard me, or you haven't heard anything at all.
We've heard everything, and it's been wonderful so far. So back to you,
okay.
Violet. We can hear you.
I was wondering, have I been unmuted? I've been on mute all this while. Anyway, so I was saying we also have the opportunity in mining. We haven't explored much in mining as a country because we have lots of abundance of minerals deposits in Malawi. At the meantime, it's only on a small scale and they're working on the gemstones, but we can explore more. So that's also one of our investment opportunity that we can get in Malawi. And you know, we say the top reasons in Malawi that why Malawi is the best country that you can invest in, because it's one of the peaceful, secure, and stable political climate. We haven't had any war. We haven't had any really status that is not stable at all.
Okay.
And one other thing that we also have is we have this which we call
I'm sorry, Violet. I think you're just muted there. If you could unmute, it's just the last sentence that we missed. Back to you, Violet.
All right. I was saying we have a one-stop service center, which is the Malawi Investment and Trade Center in Malawi, which also helps out with the investment processes. You can get everything under one roof: a company registration, investment certification, immigration permits, investor tax incentives, and even land for any type of investment that you'd want to invest. You can get all the services at one place, which also saves time if you have to invest in Malawi. I think briefly that's what I would say are our priorities in Malawi on investment. And for more information, we can get in touch. And we also have the compendiums on energy and tourism, as our tourism attaché already said. So we have projects that have already had feasibility study on that would be easier to be part of or to work on if you have to invest. And the good thing about it is there are also different volumes of projects. You can have a smaller one or a bigger one depending on how much you want to invest in our country. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for listening.
Violet Lini, thank you very much. That was wonderful. My apologies that there was just a momentary tech issue there, but I think, heard everything that you were saying, and that was extremely useful to hear your priorities and those of the government of Malawi. Now we're going to move from London, but still listen to the government of Malawi, because we're extremely lucky today to have the Malawian High Commissioner to Zimbabwe, His Excellency, Dr. Poli, who I believe has a Scottish middle name, of which he's very proud. But I'm sure His Excellency will tell us about that. Dr. Poli, if you can hear me, over to you.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. Thanks, David. Yes, indeed, my middle name is Mike Lloyd, and I think it's because of the influence in terms of the Scottish, church. Yeah, I think today it's quite a huge task for me because I'm taking, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hats. But first of all, let me acknowledge all the protocols that are already been, said, and allow me to stand on that. And again, I am also standing on the promises and indeed the foundation of the Malawi 2063, which has been ably defined or clarified by the Deputy Ambassador. Thank you so much. Based on that, I think there is quite an emphasis on youth, innovation, technology within the M2063. So based on my, my interaction and also experiences back home, there are two youth. Of course, there are so many, but at the moment, I'm working with two youth, which are here, Moses and Anton. These guys, actually, I had quite a lot of discussion with them. The first passion of Anton was actually saying, I'm so grateful that the trade attaché showed quite a lot of products on the table. But I think according to Moses, his question is, how do people know that? Despite the fact that these are available. So the passion for Moses is to create a platform where all these products are going to be provided. His actually project is actually creating a platform which is called Insika, and he's thinking of all the SMEs and all the products that are within Malawi could be provided in terms of a link, and there are even modules for those SMEs that would like to be registered. Additionally, there is also a module for tourism. I think at some other time we'll be able to define these issues. He is actually saying that the content, he's calling it a content management system, and a commercial engine website, which is going to use to manage and catalog products, register purchases, and even manage users' relationship and online retailer. So in his case, he says it doesn't matter where you are, but you'll be able to get connected. And all these products, rice, which has been ably mentioned by, I think, the trade attaché, are going to be on the forum and also connected to some of the international and recognized logistics companies to create the relationship. Secondly, it's Anthony, who comes from a village, who actually mentioned, and when I listened quite a lot from the trade attaché. When she was mentioned about the products, actually she said many other, but I wanted to add the many other to be potatoes. And the potatoes has got quite, rich in terms of the nutrients, and even for some who would like to, get, prescriptions in terms of health. There is a lot of issues related to vitamin A, vitamin C, especially the yellow type. So his passion was that during the time when these are being harvested, mostly people just use them for like a snack and things like that. So he has come up with an initiative where he wants to start, processing flour out of these, potatoes. And of course, it's at a beginning stage, and 3 universities have also been, involved. One is to look at how best we can try it with the solar energy, because he's also mindful in terms of the green, environment. And also, he's also working with another university, which is analyzing the content and understand the benefits of sweet potato flour. And another university, which is actually, playing around with that products to say what products can be, made. Is it cakes, bread, and all other confectionaries are using sweet potato flour. In summary, both these youth are just saying that they have the idea, and that they've started actually living their idea, but they're just looking at how best can they, get, connected into marketing, getting connected to issues related to, tourism, as I mentioned, the module in this CMC management system is, and also see how best can, they partner. So I was very grateful that when I had the chance talking with the Kenala, he was saying, no, there is also this, Scottish Malawi Scottish partnership, and maybe after having discussions, we can, go further. So I think maybe next time when we have time, I think you might be able to hear their voices from these energetic and ambitious young guys who are interested to bring Forex and be able to come up with a lot of innovations. They have a lot of them, but in the meantime, I told them, so let us focus on something that you can tune. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you.
Your Excellency from Zimbabwe, thank you very much indeed. Wonderful to have your input and to be championing young people's ideas and innovation. I think that's fantastic. And I think today's meeting is a great opportunity to make the sort of connections that you're looking to generate. So again, a reminder, please do use the chat box where the messaging everyone or bilaterally to make the connections to expand your network and through that to support business, trade, investment and tourism with Malawi. Friends, we've reached our first discussion point. We've had a number of excellent speakers, and I'd like for starting to take questions in the chat box. So do please keep putting your questions in the chat box. I'm keen to turn to my the co-host of today, Graham. Is there anything that you or your team would like to start by asking a question of any of our speakers so far?
Well, David, I don't know whether to say it's a question to our speaker, but maybe a comment. Because I see we've got, I don't know if I got it right. Do we have JTS, Just Trading Scotland, in the house? Hello, David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Oh, sorry, I was just checking the list there. I think we do. I'm just finding the contact there. Yes, I think we do. I'm just working to find the contact. But back to you, Graham. Did you have a specific question for JTS?
No, I was just following up on the comments or the presentation by Violet as to making Malawian products on the market, because I understand there was a time JTS were working towards having the Kilombero rice and other products that they provide on their website, getting into the UK supermarkets, and I believe there was quite a progress in one supermarket, and I'm not so sure how they've gone towards expanding to other supermarkets like Tesco's, Asda, and all.
It's a great question.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe not relevant in this one.
No, absolutely. No, it's absolutely relevant. So JTS members of ours, as you say, they import Kilombero rice and other products. They had great success getting it into a Scottish chain, Margiottas, and also into the cooperative across Scotland. I know some people are having some tech issues with access to the meeting. I can't currently see Tracy in the meeting at the moment, but if there is anyone from JTS, just put a comment in the chat box. And what we can do, Graham, is we can connect you with JTS straight after this meeting. And if anyone would like to join that conversation, just message me directly in the chat box and I will introduce you straight after this. I'm just going to pull a couple of questions, if I may, from the chat box. Firstly, from Mick James. It's a question for Dyson Banda. He asks, how easy do you think it is for foreign tourists to enter and stay in Malawi compared to other countries? And he draws a little bit on his experience. I'll just read out a second. I'll just read out a second question because it's also for Dyson. This is from Benjamin Carey. In fact, Benjamin, if you're there, do you want to read out your question? Benjamin.
Yes, I will. Firstly, it's great that the sort of tourism is top of the agenda, because tourism has such opportunities for Malawi to make a difference, particularly in rural areas. I've been having lots of conversations with Dr. Michael Uzi, the tourism minister, over the last year or so, and I think that there's a really good understanding of how tourism can be transformational for Malawi. Some very interesting strategies have come out: the investment strategy, tourism strategy, but however, there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of money or resources allocated by the government to tourism development in the implementation of these plans. And really my question is, how does Dyson think that this gap will be bridged? Because as compelling as the strategies are, unless there's money and resources behind them, it's quite difficult to see how these will be implemented as quickly as they should be.
Thanks very much, Benjamin. So 2 questions for Dyson on tourism. While Dyson is answering that, please do put any other questions you have for any of our speakers so far in the chat box. But Dyson, if you're happy to come back to the questions of ease of travel and budget allocation, that would be wonderful. Dyson.
Thank you, David, and thanks to Benjamin. Let me start with the ease of entry into Malawi. I think let me point out that I think the ease of entry into Malawi is one of the issues that were identified in the current strategy that we are implementing. And can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so I think I'm hearing some funny background noise.
We can still hear you, Dyson.
Okay. Yeah, I think the challenge that we have as Malawi, I think, is we don't have a direct intercontinental flight that can link up, let's say, Europe and Malawi. I think that is one of the challenges that most of the visitors to Malawi have raised, because they have to connect either through Addis or through Nairobi. And most of the tourists, I think they don't want to spend a number of hours at the airport waiting for connectivity. So to that effect, I think government is exploring ways of maybe trying to identify operators that can partner maybe the local private sector to make sure that maybe we can have direct flights operating into Malawi. For those that a little bit older like me, we used to have direct flights operated by British Airways, Air France, as well as KLM. But since that time, I think the last time I think was in the early 2000s. So that is a challenge that the government is aware, and every efforts are being made to make sure that we can attract operators. And the Ministry of Finance plus the other stakeholders, like there have been improvements in terms of Kamuzu International Airport. They are also looking at Chireka International Airport. And there are also incentives to make sure that maybe we can attract direct continental flights into Malawi. And the other thing related to ease of access, I think, is improvements in the access to those that may require visas. We now have the e-platform, but it has its own challenges. And we understand the Department of Immigration plus the other stakeholders that manage it are working on that. But I think there's still room for improvement, and every effort is being taken to make sure that those challenges are addressed. And in terms of the budget, I think that is also critical, and this was also greatly affected with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, because I think the Department of Tourism uses or collects a 1% tourism levy for the services that the operators do. We realize that with the challenges that the operators were facing with during the pandemic, even the collections that we make, I think they also greatly reduced. And with the other stakeholders in the sector, like the Malawi Tourism Council, we are continuing lobbying for more funding from Treasury, but because of the challenging economic climate, there are equally other important services that government has to provide. I think that's why the Tourism Investment Master Plan is exploring the possibility of having PPPs created to make sure that maybe the private sector can assist with the development of the sector. And for your own information, the master plan, I think he has 10 priority projects, and overall there are 104 projects that are spread across the country. The main aim of the projects is to make sure that we address some bottlenecks that are hampering the growth of the sector, so that, for instance, we create services that can increase the length of stay and the average expenditure that a tourist that comes to Malawi makes. It is our hope that if these two are increased, then we should be able to generate a lot of forex for the country, as well as revenue for government, as well as the revenue for the communities within the areas where these projects will be located. But otherwise, it's a continuous process, and we hope that with the support that we are getting from all the stakeholders, we should continue the engagement for more resources to support the sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Dyson. And keen to recognise, in the spirit of partnership and with all due humility and self-awareness, travel to Malawi is an awful lot easier in visa terms than it is travel from Malawi to the UK. And again, that's something that we're using our political leverage within the UK government to try and influence, to try and make it easier and have a more effective and efficient UK visa system for our friends in Malawi to come to Scotland and the UK. But thank you very much, Dyson, for those two answers. Mick, James, if you wanted in the chat box to just put another sentence or two about some of those specific challenges that you were alluding to, and perhaps Dyson and Mick, if you could communicate through the chat box, ideally publicly, that would be absolutely brilliant, just to further drill down on that. But we have another excellent question in the chat box. It's from Sylvia at Chatham House. Sylvia, if you can hear me and would like to vocalize your question, over to you.
Sure, yes, I can do so, and I hope that my internet will work. It looks like it. Yes, thanks very much for the interesting talk. I'm just wondering, because I'm doing some work on trade and environmental standards here at Chatham House, and in particular, the role of water. And I was wondering what the experience, if you could speak a bit to the experience of standards and compliance, what's that been like? And I think you mentioned the need for capacity building and exchange. If there are any programs or examples that have been successful or that would be of interest. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Sylvia. And I think that's a question for Shakira Piri, the trade attaché. Shakira, if you're happy to come back on that.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. In terms of trade and standards, I think I can cite one of the challenge that I'm facing currently is about dried fish and meat and meat products. As an SME, or if you are importing in smaller quantities, you are allowed to bring them in, because the assumption is you're just using it for your own consumption. But now the challenge comes when you're trying to scale it up and you're trying to produce now to put in the retail shops. The thing is, I checked, one of the complaints that I received was Malawi is not on the list of countries that can bring dried fish or meat and meat products. So this is something that I've taken it up with DIFRA, Department of Environmental, Food and Rural Affairs, to look at how best can we try to put Malawi on the list of countries that are eligible for importation of food, of dried fish, animal products. But those are just to cite one of the issues that I'm facing. And when it comes to packaging, and those are of course not SPS issues, but even when it comes to packaging and all that, you notice that the standards here are a bit stringent than when Malawi is trading with the other African countries. So the standards that I was looking at, or the issue that I was looking at, is to capacitate the producers in Malawi to on the standards, the required standards here, so that they can adhere to them. So those are that's one of the issues, just to mention a few, one of the issues that I'm working on.
Shakira, thank you very much for that answer. And I think that's extremely useful. I'm sure it's useful for Sylvia. It's also useful for me, because as we speak to the Scotland office, who are very happy to make representation of issues from Scotland to the UK government, that's something that I'm very happy to raise through those channels. I know you're speaking to DEFRA, obviously a department in the UK government, really happy to follow Malawi's lead in using our advocacy influence to push for exactly those sort of changes, as well as the 1955 double taxation treaty that was mentioned earlier on. So perhaps Shakira and Sylvia, we can liaise trilaterally, and if anyone wants to join that conversation on the detail of the DEFRA lobby, please put in the chat box and we'll include you, and we'll have a specific follow-up meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Shakira. Super. We can make up a little bit of time in the agenda here in the next section, which is looking at the prospective and forthcoming Malawi UK Chamber of Commerce. That's because, sadly, the chair and secretariat of that group aren't able to join today's call. So what I can do as a member of the executive group of that body is give a very short summary of what it is. I'll then invite any comments in the chat box or hands up for initial thoughts, but probably what I suggest I do is, after giving a 2-minute brief, if there's no immediate hands up for input at that point, I'll invite everyone to use the chat box for you to input into questions around the Malawi UK Chamber of Commerce. So think of any questions or input that you want to ask. But quick context and background. Probably 5 years or so ago, then Malawi High Commissioner Kenala Patemba sent a message around, probably many of us in this group, suggesting that a Malawi UK business group be set up. It did, and it's gone from strength to strength over the last 5 years. The Malawi High Commission continues to be closely involved, but it's also really run by the sort of wider business communities. And as I say, I'm delighted to sit on the executive group of that organisation. It has evolved and is in the process of becoming a formal Chamber of Commerce. That application has been approved. It's registered now with Companies House. And imminently, we're about to have the launch of the Malawi UK Chamber of Commerce. That launch was due to happen next week on the 9th of November. But sadly, I've learned, because of the train strikes, so quite unavoidably, that's been pushed back a week to the 18th of November. So what I would ask is that if you have any input on what would you want a Chamber of Commerce, specifically looking at Malawi UK business, trade and investment and tourism, to do, I would value any input now, and I can feed that back into that group. They send their apologies that they can't be with us today. So if anyone would like to put up their hand now for any initial or immediate thoughts on the question of the Chamber of Commerce, and anything you think would be really useful for the Chamber of Commerce to do, I'll take those comments now. But if not, we'll move on in the agenda and I'll invite that input in the chat box. So please put up your hand now digitally, or turn your camera on and give me a wave if you would like to speak. In fact, if you just unmute and jump in, if you would like to input to what would you want the Chamber of Commerce to be doing, maybe to address some of those blockers or challenges that we've heard of so far, or to better represent the business or trade links that you are involved with. Just unmute now and speak if you would like to.
Hi, it's Suzzy here from Birmingham, UK. Yeah, nice to meet you, and thanks for the great presentation so far. I'm person who's based in IT and logistics, and one of the challenges I would be interested in Chamber of Commerce looking into is actually customs, import and export, and customs processes. And I think Chamber of Commerce could potentially support a lot with that, in terms of, you know, if there are new trade lines being opened, making sure that the relevant authorities are actually aware of, you know, basically the future projections, and putting some emphasis onto that, because there have been some major challenges when there are new transport lines being opened up where customs are not aware, and that can potentially slow down a lot in terms of trade. So that would be my input there in terms of what I would expect them to be putting some good focus on.
Sozi, that's absolutely brilliant. That's fantastically useful. I would just put in the chat box to you my email, and if you are happy to come back with a few lines on that, I've scribbled everything that you've said there, and I'll pass that on. I think that's exactly what the Chamber of Commerce should be focusing on, and keen to take that forward. So I'll put my email, and we can have a direct conversation there. But I don't know if anyone else wants to build on Sozi's excellent suggestion there, or has any other suggestion of what you would want a Chamber of Commerce to do to really unblock some of those blockers, or unleash some of those opportunities.
Excellent.
I can see a comment from Benjamin. Benjamin, just jump in and voice your comment if you wish to.
Just a quick question. I was thinking about SMEs. Would membership of Scotland Malawi Partnership or Malawi Scotland Partnership include membership of the new chamber? It would be nice to be inclusive as possible for even the micro enterprises that are involved in this initiative.
It's a good question, Benjamin, and I'm very happy, representing the Scotland Malawi Partnership, to have a discussion with the Chamber of Commerce about that. But especially because they're not on the call, I'm keen not to speak for them. I certainly think being integrated and connected is important. I recognise that the Chamber of Commerce would need to be financially self-sufficient, which will mean that I think membership fees will be payable for it to be able to have its own income that's there. And of course, it needs to be able to charge those membership fees to have a strong value member proposition. So it's a good question, Benjamin. We will certainly share information and work very closely together, but we wouldn't be able to get fee exemption for the Chamber of Commerce. But delighted to have a more detailed conversation, Benjamin, from your perspective as an SMP member, about how most usefully we can go forwards. I can see a hand up from Tioni in Modzi Consulting. Tioni, just jump in with your input if you wish to.
Yeah, my suggestion is that the chamber should have clusters, which could be based on the sectors, so that there could be specific discussions for those clusters, unlike just having one big chamber or association where you mix a lot of issues. So a good example would be, for example, you could have a cluster for the enterprises or players in a specific value chain, like maybe rice or potato. So there would be meeting and sharing knowledge, experiences, and opportunities. And then also have different, whether it's in aquaculture, whether it's in mining, but also you need to look at also a size of the enterprises. Would there be a chamber for the small and medium enterprises, and also a chamber for the large ones, so that the issues can be tabled at the right or appropriate level of organization.
Tioni, I think that's an excellent suggestion as far as the structures. There's no point having a group that is too big and not focused. So I will pass that suggestion in of detailed thematic clusters such that the right conversations can be had at the right level. I'll take one more input here and then we will move on in the agenda. I can see a hand up here from Eve Broadis of Fair Trade Scotland. Eve, over to you.
Yeah, David, it's okay. I think I've put my hand up before. I just wanted to clear up a problem. There seems to be a confusion between Just Trading Scotland and Fair Trade Scotland. And I just wanted to clear that up, that we are not Just Trading Scotland. We are Fair Trade Scotland. And there was a chat in the box. Somebody sent me a message that we're set up with that charitable status our shareholders to bring in value-added products. So if I can just clear that up on this group, I think that would be very good. Okay.
Eve, thank you very much, and my apologies for the confusion there.
That's okay.
Both are members of ours, but it's JTS that does the Kilimanjaro rice, and Fair Trade Scotland is involved with Mzuzu coffee. What I'm going to say is I don't want to cut short any ideas there. So please, any further ideas or input, do put it in the chat box and I'll ensure that gets to the leadership team of the forthcoming Chamber of Commerce. And also I'll put my email address in the chat box. So if you want to email more detailed comment, that's great. But I was really keen, because we're bringing people together in this space, to really use this as a listening exercise for the forthcoming Chamber of Commerce. But friends, we're going to move to the third section of today's meeting. We're looking at banking and money transfer services. Our first of two speakers in this section is Joshua Banda from Standard Bank. Joshua, we're thrilled to have you with us. Can you hear us? And over to you, if so.
Yeah, thanks a lot, David. I hope you can all hear me as well.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. So we're quite delighted actually to be a part of this discussion. For Standard Bank, I think this is one of those important opportunities for us actually to share in the agenda for government in terms of development of Malawi. One of our purpose, actually our main purpose actually, is that Malawi is our home and we drive her growth. And within that spirit, I'll go actually straight into what we're actually doing in terms of investments, and we do appreciate the opportunity that have been given here. So looking at the various opportunities that are being shared here, one of the things that we actually did at Standard Bank is to actually look at some of our partners, our Malawian counterparts that are actually living abroad, to give them opportunities that they can actually invest back home here in Malawi. I know there are various opportunities that are being discussed in terms of what areas they can invest in Malawi, but we're also looking at saying what opportunities or platforms can we give our fellow Malawians that are out there to actually invest in those sectors. So what I'm going to be talking about here is specifically to do with what we are offering to diasporas, Malawians that are living in diaspora, specifically to invest in Malawi back home. So what we did a kind of research way back where we noted that there are a number of gaps in terms of funding for Malawians that are in diaspora when they want to start business, or even when they just want to transact in Malawi. So with that reason, Standard Bank introduced a diaspora offering whereby we are able to open accounts for Malawians that are actually living, whether in Scotland, UK, whether in the US, wherever it is, we're able to open accounts for them. And these Malawians, they will then have access to facilities in Malawi. And these facilities, they can either be normal personal loans, they can actually take them for working capital finance, for those that are looking to invest in various businesses in Malawi. And some of them, they may even have already assets in Malawi and they've got capital that is tied up in those particular assets. We're able to offer what we're calling equity release loans, which are over about 200 million kwacha maximum that they can actually get to invest in various endeavors here in Malawi. So those are some of the products that we are able to offer to Malawians that are actually living abroad and that would like to invest in Malawi. Obviously, for those companies that are already in Malawi, whether they are SMEs and corporates, We have specific solutions within our corporate banking teams, within our SME banking teams, that they are able to offer support to us that are here in Malawi. But these solutions that I'm referring to, they are specific for Malawians that are in this forum. And I know here we do have several ambassadors, and we also have some Malawians also listening in. And one of the key things that normally comes out is that it's quite difficult to open these accounts and to get access to these facilities. So what we're trying to say here at Standard Bank is to say we made it so easy. You no longer require any national ID to actually access these facilities, specifically if you're in the diaspora. We're just using your copy of a passport and you'll be able to open these accounts. In the event that you don't have immediately, you can actually get a communication from the embassy actually indicating that you're actually processing this documentation, and you'll be able to access all these opportunities that are there, the finance facilities, the account itself, and even just having access to preferable exchange rates, which normally when you look at banks normally, they are usually lower. But for this particular offering, we've done it in partnership with our sister company, Bureau de Change, and our rates there, they're quite competitive, almost similar to what you normally find with the parallel market. So yeah, I really wanted just to take this opportunity to tell my fellow Malawians that are on the call, including the ambassadors, our distinguished ambassadors on the call, that for those Malawians that are looking to invest back home, Standard Bank is there to actually partner with them in the various fields that are actually been mentioned here. So on the chat, you'll notice that my colleague Emma Gomani has also put in an email there. You can actually reach out to her directly, and she'll also put the Affluent Support Center email where you can reach out where you need support in some of these investment endeavors. But otherwise, I appreciate the opportunity given, and we look forward to support those projects whereby they're looking for those funding on a personal level through our diaspora offering to our fellow Malawians out there. Thank you very much, David. I think in a brief, that's what we prepared, but we are ready to share any other marketing material, brochures, and so on to whoever may be interested. The email is there. Please reach out. We'll be happy to help you through the journey. Thank you very much, David.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Joshua. That's absolutely excellent to know. And I think that'll be of interest to a lot of people on the call. And we will do everything we can to share that news with others, not on the call, but across our network. We've got one more speaker in this section, and then we're going to have a joint Q&A. So please do put your questions in the chat box for Joshua Banda of Standard Bank. And I'm really, really thrilled to pass now to a good friend of the Scotland Malawi Partnership, Samaya Patel, who is co-founder of Moto Money. Samaya, if you're there, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, David. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys today. So like David mentioned, I'm the co-founder of Moto Money. Moto Money is a B2B payments app for European businesses to send money to Africa. Currently, our only market that we're operating in is Malawi, because Malawi is back home for me, or my family are based in Malawi. So this product was initially created to really support businesses that are trying to send money to Malawi. I'd love to just first show you a demo of what we're working on, and then I'll explain the process as we go. So I'm going to share my screen. Everyone can see?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So I want to show you a demo of what we're working on the app that we're currently building. So this is a short video. I'll talk you through it. So the first step, you have the app, you create an account. So you have two options, personal and business payments. So for the purpose of this demo, we're going to click business. And this is the concept that we're working on. So you can see the home page is kind of like a social feed, where you see people that are requesting payments from you. So over here, you have the business logo, and you have people here that are requesting payments from you. You can just scroll down and see those requests, and there's comments and and things like that. Then we have a wallet page. This is, so the idea that we're trying to work on is to create an end-to-end payment flow where the sender in the Europe also has a Moto Money wallet, and the recipient that you're sending the money to also has a Moto Money wallet. So the more that we can create this end-to-end seamless flow, the lower the transaction fees will be, because it's within the same ecosystem. So that's why over here you'll see Malawi Kwacha wallet, and you can basically add your bank cards here. So you can add NatWest, Monzo, you can add any account or wallet over there. And then here you have your transaction list, and then there's a section where offers and promotions will be. So if you would like to send money, then you click on the Send Money tab. Then over here, you'll basically see, friends and Moto Money, recent, group payments, because something that we're also working on is bulk payments. So you can, in one click, you can pay multiple people across Malawi or across Africa. So this is what you'll see here. So, if I'm paying, for example, salaries, these are my employees, I'm paying Tadala in Malawi and Kwacha. And then you have Janet, who's, she's Kenyan shillings there. And then you can select, okay, how do you want to pay them? Because your bank account's connected, it's super quick. So you just select NatWest, if you're NatWest, and then just send payment, and it automatically come out from your bank account. So this what I've shown you is an app that we're working on building. So by qualification, I'm an engineer. I worked at Amazon for almost a year, and I left Amazon to work on Moto Money, because I really believe that there's a huge market for B2B payments to Malawi. There's loads of B2C apps. There's World Remit, there's MoneyGram, there's Western Union. There's loads of options if you're an individual sending money back home to family. But if you're a business, there's not many options out there for you, which is what we find. So, a lot of the organizations that are currently using us are basically, they've been using bank-to-bank payments. Now, obviously, bank to bank, it goes through intermediary banks. And then, so, it takes a long time to get there. And also there'll be fees that you will be charged. So, we're trying to tackle, all the issues that are with, business payments to underserved African markets. And our first go-to market will be Malawi. We currently have a solution right now that we're working on. So we have this version that you see now is not released yet. It will be released in the coming months, but we do have a process. So if you are a business that wants a solution to send payments to Malawi with really good rates and a good service, then you can come and talk to us, and we can explain that process more in detail. But yeah, I would love to answer any questions if anyone has any questions, any feedback. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Yeah, thank you.
Thanks ever so much. And that demo, I think, worked really well. We could see that very clearly. I can see Benjamin Kerry has jumped in to share his feedback. He was introduced to Moto Money a little while ago, and he confirmed it's a great initiative and the app works well. So I'm going to pause there. I'm really keen to invite questions from our two excellent speakers, both of whom I think are bringing new products that are really, really useful for building business, trade, investment and tourism. I know from listening to our members that bankers and bankers services is a real challenge. It's a real impediment as far as speeds and processes and just effectiveness. So I'm really excited to have both Standard Bank and Moto Money here bringing new products out. And in fact, we've been working with Moto Money for quite a while, over the last sort of 6 months or so. And a number of our members have helped trial and pilot some of those initiatives as they've developed. So please do put questions in the chat box. First question I can see that's come in from Grace Manika, and it just says, what's the rate? I think probably that's Samaya, but Joshua, you're very welcome to answer that as well. I'm not sure if that is something that can simply be answered, but Samaya, if you're happy to come back to that question.
Yeah, for sure. So our exchange rate today is 12.64 to the GBP. And just to highlight, we do an exercise every morning to ensure that our rates are, are better than any other MTO provider, any other money transfer provider in the market?
Thank you very much, Samaya. Joshua, I don't know if it's something that you're able to answer. I know you said you've got very competitive rates because of your partnership with the Bureau. Joshua, do you want to just come back your side as well?
Yeah, so currently, if you look at our rates currently, it would actually end up being for GBP at 1,400, and if it's USD, it will be around 1,295. But these rates, obviously, they are subject to change on the day of trade. But as of today, those are the rates through our bureau to change. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed. And Grace, as quick as a flash, come back with the next question, which is, and what are the charges for transfers? I don't know, maybe Samaya, then Joshua. Samaya.
Yeah, sure. Currently, we don't charge any fees, so it's 0 fees.
And Joshua, up to you if you'd like to come back on that question.
Yeah, so in terms of this specific diaspora offering, we don't charge anything from our end. So if you're sending money to Malawi, we will not charge anything from our side. And effectively, in terms of the account that you actually maintain, it doesn't carry any monthly charges as well. So you'd find that whatever money you're depositing or just saving, you'll find it as it is. If anything, you'll actually find it a little bit better with interest above. Thank you.
Thanks ever so much, Joshua. We've had a question here from Anderson Kamanga, who says, Samaya, take me through the process if I were to do some business on eBay via your app, Moto Money. Samaya, if you're happy to come back to that question. Again, talking through the process if someone were to do business on eBay via your app.
I don't quite understand what you mean by doing business on eBay. So currently, you can't connect our platform onto e-commerce sites like eBay. So the way the process is that if you're a business, if you're a charity or NGO, or if you're manufacturing any sort of trade business, anything, you would do onboarding with us. So we'll ask you a few questions about your business name, registration number. We have to do a few compliance checks. Once that is all done, then you can basically make your transfers from GBP to Malawi Kwacha with us. Currently we don't have anything that allows you to connect to any other site.
Thanks very much, Samaya. Anderson, if you wanted to unmute yourself and just elaborate a little bit, if you wanted to, you're very welcome to just now. Hi there. Go ahead, Anderson, if you wish to.
Thank you. Actually, thank you very much for the presentations. Actually, I'll make some more questions to others, but this one I think just caught me because I do some business in England, Malawi, and I do look for opportunities. And I know the digital platform is extremely helpful, but of course, as you can see, the difference in fees from Standard Bank and Sumaya is quite big. And for a trader, you're always looking for an opportunity. So that's why I did ask that question. But I'm happy to look beyond this, this meeting today, and maybe speak furthermore to Sumaya and see how I could be helped in that regard. So thank you very much, David. Is it David Hope Jones for giving me the opportunity?
Thank you very much, Anderson. And yes, please do liaise directly with Samaya and with Joshua, should you wish to. There's a question here, a great question from Mick James. Mick, if you're there and would like to vocalize your question, over to you.
Thank you very much, David. Really, my question is, at the moment, I'm experiencing real problems with the UK banks. Like every time I try and send money into Malawi, I'll get a message from my bank asking me to call them to justify the reason why I'm sending money to Africa and to Malawi in particular. And then they'll ask me to back that up with a written set of reasons why I'm doing this. I find this like tremendously frustrating and a real structural barrier to being able to do any business with Malawian organisations. And I was wondering whether this is a normal experience for other organisations, or whether there's anything that may be able to be done at a higher level to assure UK banks actually transacting with Malawi isn't like transacting with Colombian drug lords, which they seem to think it is at the moment. Thank you.
It's a great question, Mick, and thanks for sharing your experience. Joshua, I can see you nodding your head there, so if I might turn to you, and I'd be really interested in your reflections and anyone else's. Just put in the chat box if you'd like to feed in and share your views, or particularly your ideas about what we could do as a community to address some of these challenges. But I mean, just from my perspective, the Scotland Malawi Partnership, I very much recognise the picture that Mick is painting there. We as an organisation changed the sort of type of charity that we are to become a SCIO. It's a fairly sort of relatively routine move that many organisations have done, but we found actually that then opening a new bank account with the new charity's name was incredibly problematic. And, you know, several years now of applying for to open bank accounts in the UK. And again, as Mick suggested, that there is an inherent suspicion because the nature of our work has historically involved transferring money to Malawi. And this is a charity that's a major national network co-funded by the Scottish government with the president of Malawi and Princess Anne as co-patrons. And yet the sort of algorithms that be casting an air of suspicion, something that we find immensely frustrating and absolutely not in the keeping of the values that we have as an organization and as a network. So I'm going to turn to Joshua first on that, whether that's something that he's seen at the Malawian end, the Standard Bank, but do put up your hand or put a comment in the chat box if you would like to share your opinion. Joshua.
Yeah, many thanks, David. I'm really happy about these engagements because you then get to hear a couple of insights as well from the other side of the coin as well. From our end, we haven't really had too much of those incidences per se. There are cases whereby indeed funds, when they're being sent from abroad, you find that even here as a beneficiary, you're asked actually to ascertain that you're expecting particular funds. But obviously, I think it's something that has to do with global trends in terms of the regulatory perspective on things like money laundering and so on. So there are certain checks and balances that are being put in place. However, this for normal businesses or for normal organizations that are normally sending funds and they are properly registered, you don't normally expect such things. And they would normally have records to the extent that even for our end, if you're receiving these funds for the first time, maybe you may get asked, but afterwards, you should be able to continue receiving those funds without any problems. So I'll be happy to hear from the other participants on the call how their experience has been. But this one is not supposed to be a normal case. It should be just a one-off. And if you're sending to a beneficiary, maybe for the first time, but afterwards, as I said, it's supposed to be a normal transfer and there shouldn't be too many questions asked. But I'll be happy just to hear from the other participants on the call, since this is something specific coming from the other end as well. Thank you, David.
Thanks ever so much, Joshua. And Mick, do come back on the chat box. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Joshua. And Mick, do come back on the chat box should you wish with further detail. I mean, I should emphasize my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mick, but the issues with the banking system is the UK banking end, if that's right, rather than the Malawian end. But please do come back with further details, Mick. It'd be great to turn to our co-host for today, Graham Kenala. Graham, would you like to feed into this discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to feed a little bit. I know you mentioned about an organization trying to open an account. Yeah, there was a time I faced the same problem when I was initially Power Global International. We registered with Scotland Companies House under Power Global Malawi. And then when we went to the bank to open an account, they said it's flagged, a red flag to say Malawi. And they started asking a lot of questions, you know, are you not funding terrorists and whatever kind of stuff. And they wanted proof to say we are also affiliated to Scotland and Malawi Partnership. And the hassle was just too much to the point that we just ended up, just changing, going back to Power Global International. So I agree with you, David, to say it's a problem that is on the UK side to possibly, I would think, trying to monitor money laundering and all that. It's the same thing again. If you keep on sending money to someone in large amounts, they'll start asking you, "We have deposited too much to this person. What is it that this person is doing to you?" But working with Standard Bank, we've had quite a good conversation where we are also going to be connecting with banks in in the UK to see how best people can actually transact between UK and Malawi. Because I understand your frustration, Michael James, but my experience just transferring money from, for example, Barclays Bank to my previous banker, it was so swift without any problems raised. Yeah, but also I wanted to also comment on the campaign that Standard Bank, pursuing right now. I'm proud to say that I've got an account with them. I went through the process, and I'm also proud to say that I'm a customer, and the account was opened within a flash. Like I would say, to be honest, it was 2 days the account was up and running. Yeah, so I think just going back, I think the problem is something that maybe we could explore more and check out with our local bankers here in the UK to see how best this money transfer could be less frustrating.
Graham, a really useful input. Thanks ever so much. And again, as I did with visas, it's interesting to juxtapose the situation in Malawi and the UK. Hearing Joshua and Standard Bank able to open bank accounts in a couple of days, and comparing that with the sort of issues that we're experiencing at this side if you're trading with Africa, opening banks with UK banks here in the UK. So all credit, I think, Joshua, to you and Samaya as well, developing really excellent products that are innovative and impactful and are based around making trade easier despite those challenges at the UK side. Friends, we're entering the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes or so of today's meeting. I'm very keen that we have an open space where anyone that wants to ask any final questions or suggest something that hasn't been discussed yet that we can touch on, and if we can't do justice in the time available, we can come back to it in greater detail in another forum. So please use the chat box now or raise a hand digitally if there's something you would like to share before we finish, something relating to business, investment, trade and tourism between the UK and Malawi that you feel hasn't been raised yet. You're very welcome to. In the meantime, first off, I'll take a question. I think it's for Dyson from Anderson. And it's saying there in the chat box that many visitors from Europe to Malawi may want to visit other countries in the region in Southern Africa. Are there any efforts to work with tour operators across the region? I don't know, Dyson, if you're there and happy to take that question from Anderson.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Anderson. I think I'd like to say that modern trends show that long-haul tourists, they would like to visit a number of countries just to make sure that they maximize on their investment. And we have noted that, and as Malawi, what we have done is to also make sure that there is a smooth flow within the region. Malawi government, through the Department of Tourism, has signed a number of MOUs with our neighbors. For instance, we have an MOU with Zambia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania and Mozambique, just to mention a few. And the experience also shows that the tour operators, they work jointly within the region to make sure that there's a smooth flow of the tourists within the region. And we are welcome to any suggestions, any feedback in terms of the challenges that tour operators are facing. For instance, I think the Songwe border, I think there are a number of issues that side, which I think government is aware, and that has been presented to a high-level task force to make sure that we can improve the facilitation process. But otherwise, like I said, I think we understand that the current trends have shown that most tourists would like to do a combination. For instance, they'll do a combination of Malawi because we have a beautiful lake on our side, and then they'll go maybe to South Ruangwa because of the abundant wildlife that South Ruangwa offers, as well as maybe Vic Falls in Livingstone. So we have seen that in terms of the itineraries, there's a lot of combinations between the countries. So that's something that we also take to our advantage because of the comparative advantage that we have with the beautiful lake that we have and the other attractions in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dyson. And of course, the wonderful Shuri River with its elephants, which you have resplendent there behind you as well, who have remained admirably static through the course of the meeting. I was worried they might be disrupting things, but they've behaved themselves very well. Eve, I can see a hand up. Eve, over to you for a comment.
Yeah, hi, David. I just thought I'd give you a quick update on the Mzuzu coffee. What we don't want, we've got 8,000 empty packets of the golden coffee sitting in there because the print run was 10,000, and because of all the the problems that we're working through, we're going to actually try and import those 8,000 packets, have them filled and import them over the coming months. So I just wanted to make people aware that the golden coffee is separate, exactly the same coffee, but this comes through the fair trade route, which means there's a social premium once with the certification back for the community, and plus there's a trading relationship with us, which means it's about growing the market in the fair trade quarter. It doesn't stop the Mzuzu ordinary coffee coming out, but it's very important that as Scotland's a fair trade nation, and there's so many supporters that believe in trade justice, that we're going to use this coffee in the next round. We've tried everything. I mean, we've been pushed along this. Trust me, I was quite happy just having a little shop. So I don't know how I've ended up with what we're now doing, but it's so important to support smallholder farmers, and totally passionate and engaged. And with Joyce as our CEO, this is our next step, is to really push the value-added fair trade golden coffee. So I just wanted to update you, because I know there's an event at the end of the month, and unfortunately we've got nothing to put on the table because the coffee date ran out, so we gave a lot of it away. So thank you for your support, the Scotland Malawi Partnership, in buying and using it. And we have got 8,000 bags coming in the future, so we'll keep you updated, David.
Fantastic. Yeah? Thank you very much, Eve, for that update. And I suspect other caffeine addicts like me will be looking forward to the 8,000 bags arriving shortly. The event that Eve mentioned is our annual gathering. It's happening in Edinburgh City Chambers on the 26th of November, and I'm never shy about shameless plugs. So there it is. Just in the chat box, if you haven't seen it, a great comment there from Babilas, who, in fact, Babilas, if you wanted to sort of vocalize your comment, you'd be most welcome to. No worries if not. Babilas was saying that the issues... Hello? Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, David. Actually, I think I was looking at it from the point of maybe trying to work on the policy that would favor the two countries. Like I've already put on the chat box, I had a very bad experience, maybe trying to get hold of my bank to transfer funds using the UK. But actually, I think I had to justify, and took a lot of time for me to get through and for them to get back to me. Of course, it eventually worked. So we are looking at this probably maybe as a barrier, maybe to trade and other things. I think, of course, we understand that it's covered by the country. Maybe it has to do with the foreign exchange control issues. But I think at points we feel like maybe they are over strict. I think maybe it is something that the two governments, I think, can work on. Between the two countries can benefit from the relationship, because we also understand that the issue to do with barriers also have to do with the issue to do with the probably maybe restrictions. So probably I think maybe if that fear will be taken out, of course, while adhering to other issues, but if that will be taken out, we could see more and more engagement between the countries. Everyone is acting as a barrier.
Fabulous. I'm going to jump in. Thank you very much. I don't know if others had this issue as well. There was a lot of digital static on the line. I probably got about half of what you were saying there. What I did hear was brilliant. So please don't be shy, Fabulous. Do elaborate on your existing point in the chat box. My apologies that I think it was the network strength that was the issue there. Let's begin to wrap it up. I'm really keen to turn first to our co-host, to Graham at Power Global. Graham, your remarks, your conclusions from the last couple of hours?
Sorry, your question again. Sorry, David, I didn't get you.
It was well, why don't I give a quick summary from my perspective of some of the key points that have come up, and then Graham, if you wanted to, just any closing remarks from yourself and Power Global, should you wish to. But friends, it's been a really productive couple of hours from my perspective. I think we've delivered on those objectives we set ourselves at the start. We heard first off from the Deputy Malawi High Commissioner to the UK Justice Patemba. My takeaway there were these two really key policy documents that I hope everyone has on speed dial, as it were, Vision 2063, and then its first 10-year implementation plan. Links to those in the chat box, and they'll be on the past event page from today. We then heard from Dyson Banda, who is the tourism attaché. We heard about his desire to share expertise in the bilateral relationship between Scotland and Malawi. I'm keen to emphasize on a two-way basis, with Scotland learning as well. He talked about some of the key attractions, the national monuments, and perhaps talked about the idea of sponsoring or adopting some of those. He talked about broadening some of the exchange programs, so Scots spending a bit longer in Malawi, getting their wallets out a little bit more, always a challenge for Scots, and really taking time to visit other parts of Malawi and drive tourism as well. And Dyson also flagged, quite rightly, the Malawi Tourism Master Plan, a 20-year plan. We then heard from the trade attaché, Shakira Piri, who had Malawian products resplendent behind her on the table. She was emphasizing that really want to look for markets and distributors. So if that's something you can help with, do connect with Shakira. She talked about March 23 next year, the Buy Malawi strategy, wanting to create awareness and visibility of those products. She talked about some of the challenges of access to affordable finance for producers again. So if you could help with soft loans for producers, that's something to speak to Shakira about. And she talked about exchange programs, training and learning between SMEs, perhaps in Scotland and Malawi, for two-way learning. It's good to hear that she really stands by our advocacy work on the double taxation treaty, updating that 1955 double taxation treaty between the UK and Malawi. It's the UK's oldest and least equitable bilateral double taxation treaty, and we find it unacceptable that a treaty signed between the government of the United Kingdom and the government of the United Kingdom's appointed governor of Nyasaland still holds force today. So we continue to use all political leverage that we can to have that updated. We then heard from Violet Leaney, the investment attaché. We heard about the great opportunities for agricultural investment, including zero-rated corporation tax for up to 10 years, and some of the opportunities in energy and manufacturing. We heard about the shortage of fertilizer because of Ukraine and the really crucial need to build more fertilizer factories in Malawi, and about how through MITC, those wanting to invest in Malawi can benefit from it as a peaceful, secure, stable and growing economy. From Zimbabwe, we heard from Dr. Polly, proud of his McLeod Scottish surname, again about Vision 2063, but what a brilliant example of youth innovation, particularly looking at that content management system developed by Moses and Anton, raising awareness of the Malawi products that are available for international export, but also exploring new opportunities for sweet potato flour. We also heard from the Standard Bank's Joshua Banda, about the new opportunities to invest in Malawi, the new products that they have, their diaspora offering, the ability clearly very easily, as we've heard, to open accounts and for working capital finance. You just need your passport. As we've heard, it can be done in a couple of days, and you can access preferential exchange rates. Finally, we heard from Samaya Patel about Moto Money, the excellent new B2B payment apps. We've heard the positive feedback in the chat box from a number of our members who have used that very successfully, and we encourage those taking part to use those new systems and services from Standard Bank and Moto Money respectively. I hope that's a useful whistle-stop 3-minute summary of all of the key takeaway points. And Graham, I don't know if you had any closing remarks at your side.
Thank you, David. Yeah, on this point, I just want to invite my colleague Lucy Chitembea. She's our strategic and marketing executive based in the United States, to just do the closing remarks, please. Lucy. Lucy, your mic is off.
Okay, my name is Lucy Chitembea. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you guys for everybody who presented today and all those who participated also in this event. This is a very crucial event to help Malawi change its course of time, and also to help in the trade and industry as well. There's business, investment, and also tourism. So you guys have had a lot of information that was shared here. Please take advantage of it. And there's also contact information that was also shared. Please check that information and take advantage of that information. This opportunity was actually shared, and event was actually shared to you guys because we want to make sure that, you know, Malawians in the diaspora also and in Malawi, and also all other people who are interested to do trade with Malawi, whether here, with Malawians, whether here or in Malawi, take advantage of the opportunities that we have. As we also want to thank the UK ambassador, Dr. Bisika, and his deputy, Agnes Patemba, and the attaches from the UK Mission for all the things that you have done today, and everything that you are doing to make sure that Malawi is promoted in United Kingdom and also around the world. And also we want to thank the embassy in US because they're also participating today as well, pretty much observing, because we're also going to be working with them in US as well. And we'd like to also thank Ambassador Polepole from Zimbabwe for his presentation and also empowering the youth. Besides everything else, we'd like to also thank the Scotland Malawi Partnership for presenting this opportunity for us with Power Global, make sure that, you know, we change the course of time for our country, Malawi. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Lucy. And please, I'm keen to extend my thanks to you and to Graham and everyone in Power Global for making today happen. Similarly, keen to extend my thanks to the speakers, many of whom stepped in at relatively short notice and kept fantastically to time, which meant that we in turn have kept broadly to time as well. So very sincere thanks to everyone, the High Commissioner, the Deputy High Commissioner, the attachés, Standard Bank, Moto Money, absolutely everyone. Thanks ever so much. Chad, if you're happy to put up on the screen the poll, just a couple of quick questions before you go. We'd really appreciate it if you could answer these questions, which will pop up in hopefully just a second. But please do contact me. I put my message, my email in the chat box. Please do contact me if there's anything that you want to follow up on. Scotland Malawi Partnership is there to coordinate, represent, and support all aspects of the bilateral relationship. As we move from aid to trade, we are very keen that business, trade, investment, tourism is a key part of what we're talking about, and we are absolutely steadfast that we'll be led by Malawi's priorities and not Scotland's priorities in that space. If colleagues are able to put the poll up, that would be fantastic. There might be a technical reason why that's not come up just yet. Fantastic, just one moment. Super. I don't think the poll is coming up. Sorry,
David, the poll is up. People are responding, maybe because you're a host, you're not getting it. I'm not sure.
Thank you very much, Chad. Brilliant. You saved me further embarrassment of trying to fill time unnecessarily. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a great day. Zikomo Kwambiri to all of our speakers. Thank you.
Zikomo.
Zikomo. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you.